What if I told you there's a silent language of touch that awakens in a man a primal need to connect with you? Would you believe it? That there are 5 points on the male body that, when touched by conscious feminine energy, create a direct bridge between his physical and emotional self. There's a secret about the power of a woman's touch that few women know, and it can completely transform the way he relates to you. I know exactly how it feels to always be trying to connect with him, but it seems like there's an invisible wall between you. How frustrating it is when you offer affection and he seems distant, when you seek intimacy and he withdraws, when you feel like your touches don't reach where he truly lives. You're not the first woman to wonder why sometimes it seems like he doesn't feel the depth of what you're offering. And no, the problem isn't that you don't know how to touch or that you aren't sensual enough. What's happening is that most women don't understand that the male body holds emotional memories in specific places, and that a conscious feminine touch can access parts of his soul that even he doesn't know. One of the greatest scholars of human psychology discovered something revolutionary about how touch functions as an emotional language. When a woman touches a man with presence and intention, she's not just offering physical pleasure, she's creating a safe space where he can exist without masks. And until you know how and where to touch to create this deep connection, you'll keep feeling like there's a distance between you that love alone can't bridge. Your feminine energy is too sacred to be wasted on superficial attempts at connection. And today, you're going to discover the 5 points where a woman's touch awakens in a man a vulnerability that he rarely allows anyone to see. There's an ancient wisdom about touch that women once carried, one that's been lost through the generations. Our grandmothers knew that a man's body is an emotional map, and that certain areas hold memories, fears, tensions, and longings he could never express in words. The first secret lies in understanding that a man, from childhood, learns to separate his body from his emotions. He's taught that feeling is weakness, that vulnerability is dangerous, that the need for tenderness is something to overcome. So, when a woman touches him in a purely sexual or casual way, she's speaking a language he already knows. But when she touches him with feminine wisdom, she's offering him something he didn't even know he was searching for. Psychology teaches us that mindful touch activates areas of the brain linked to trust, emotional connection, and a sense of safety. When you touch a man with presence, not just desire, but with the intention of creating a genuine encounter, you're offering him an experience that goes far beyond the physical. Notice how he reacts when you touch him differently, slower, with more presence, as if you're exploring sacred ground. Pay attention to how his breathing changes, how his shoulders relax, how his gaze softens. These are signs that you're accessing parts of him that are rarely touched, not just physically, but emotionally. Feminine energy has the power to transform touch into a healing ritual. When you touch a man with the awareness that you're offering presence, not just pleasure, you create a space where he can lower all the guards he carries throughout the day. And it's in this moment of vulnerability that true connection happens. But here's what you need to understand. This kind of touch doesn't come from technique. It comes from your connection to your own feminine energy. When you're centered within yourself, present in the moment, connected to your own sacred sensuality, your touch carries a quality that's impossible to resist. Now let's move on to the first place where a woman's touch can awaken a deep response in a man, the nape of his neck. This area carries all the tension of having to be strong, of needing to be in control, of constantly making decisions. It's where he accumulates the weight of the responsibilities that society places upon masculine shoulders. When you touch the nape of his neck with your fingertips, ever so gently, like tracing raindrops on his skin, you're offering him permission to relax. It's as if you're saying, "Here, you don't have to be strong. Here, you can simply be." This touch activates a primal memory of care, of maternal protection, but without infantilizing him. The second place is the chest, specifically the region of the heart. Most women touch a man's chest in a sexual way, but there's a way to touch him there that awakens something much deeper. When you place the palm of your hand over his heart and simply breathe together, you're creating an energetic connection that goes straight to the soul. A man's chest carries the memories of all the times he had to swallow his emotions, had to be strong when he wanted to cry, had to hold on to pain he could never express. When you touch him there with reverence, as if you were touching something sacred. You offer him the experience of being seen in his complete humanity. The third place is his hands. A man's hands carry all the pressure of having to do, to build, to solve, to provide. When you touch his hands, not just holding them, but gently massaging his fingers, his palm, his wrist, you're honoring everything that he does and offering a respite for that ever-active energy. There's something deeply intimate in touching a man's hands with presence. It's as if you're saying, I see everything you do, everything you carry, and I want to care for the one who cares. This recognition touches a part of the masculine soul that is rarely seen or valued. The fourth point is one of the most powerful and least understood, the lower back, especially the base of the spine. This is where a man accumulates all the tension from having to hold everything up, not just financially, but emotionally, psychologically, spiritually. It's where the weariness settles from carrying so many expectations. When you touch this area with the palms of your hands, making slow, deep circular motions, you're offering him something he didn't even know he needed, the feeling that he's not alone in carrying the weight of the world. This touch awakens a primal gratitude, a recognition that there's someone who understands what it means to be a man in a world that demands so much. Body psychology teaches us that the lower back is directly connected to the feeling of support and emotional sustenance. When this area relaxes under a woman's conscious touch, a man experiences a release that goes far beyond the physical. It's a letting go of responsibilities he didn't even realize he was shouldering alone. The fifth and final point is perhaps the most surprising: the feet. Yes, a man's feet hold memories of all the paths he's had to walk alone, of all the times he had to stay on his feet when he wanted to collapse, of the entire journey of becoming a man in a world that rarely offers rest. When you touch his feet, not necessarily an elaborate massage, but a simple, present touch with warm hands, you're offering something truly revolutionary: the possibility of stopping, of not having to go anywhere, of simply being there, being cared for. This touch awakens in a man an ancient memory of home, of belonging, of having a place in the world where he can stop running and simply be. It's one of the most powerful touches for creating emotional intimacy, because it symbolizes that here, with you, he's found his safe harbor. But here's the secret that transforms everything. These touches only work when they come from a woman who's connected to her own feminine energy. When you're centered, present, radiating self-love, your touch carries a magnetic quality that's simply irresistible. Now let's delve deeper into what happens, energetically, when you touch these points with awareness. It's not just about technique, but an alchemy that unfolds when conscious feminine energy meets hidden masculine vulnerability. When you touch the nape of his neck, you're creating a direct bridge to his nervous system. This area is connected to the vagus nerve, responsible for the body's relaxation response. But beyond the physiological aspect, there's something more profound. You're touching the place where he holds on to control. By touching him there gently, you're offering him the rare experience of letting go of the reins without losing his sense of self. Notice how his breathing changes when you do this. How shoulders, that were once tense, begin to drop. How his jaw, which he didn't even realize was clenched, relaxes. These are signs that you're not just touching skin, you're touching his very soul. On his chest, the heart region, something even more magical happens. Science has already proven that the heart has its own electromagnetic field, and when two people touch with presence, these fields synchronize. When you place your hand over his heart and breathe consciously, you're creating a resonance that goes far beyond the romantic. It's almost mystical. It's in this moment that he can feel something he rarely experiences. The sensation of being seen not for what he does, but for who he is. Not for the role he plays, but for the essence he carries. This awakens a vulnerability in him that is both frightening and liberating. In his hands, you're touching the instruments of creation and work, but you're also touching the way he connects with the world. A man's hands carry memories of all the times he had to fight, build, protect. When you touch them with reverence, you're honoring his entire journey, all his effort, all his dedication. There's something deeply feminine in caring for the hands that take care. It's an act of energetic reciprocity that touches a part of the masculine soul that rarely receives attention. the need to be cared for by the one he cares for. But there's a shadow to this knowledge of touch that we need to face honestly. The power of a woman's touch can be used manipulatively, and it's important to understand the difference between touching to create genuine connection and touching to get something in return. Some women, upon discovering the impact of conscious touch, might try to use it as a tool for control. They touch in a calculated way, intending to get attention, gifts, commitment, or anything else they desire. But here's the truth. When touch comes from neediness or manipulation, it completely loses its magic. A man, even if unconsciously, feels the difference between a touch that's born from an abundance of love and a touch that's born from a need to receive something. The first relaxes him and connects him. The second makes him alert and defensive. There's also the risk of losing yourself in the role of compulsive caregiver. Some women, realizing how much a man responds to conscious touch, may start to define themselves solely by this ability to care. They might forget that they also need to be touched, cared for, seen in their vulnerability. Conscious feminine touch only maintains its strength when it comes from a woman who is centered in herself, who knows her own worth, who offers affection not because she needs to feel needed, but because she is overflowing with self-love. Another hurdle is the expectation that these touches will solve all the relationship's problems. Touch can create profound moments of connection, but it can't heal an emotionally immature man. It can't transform someone selfish into someone selfless, and it can't make him commit if he isn't ready to. It's important to understand that conscious touch is an invitation to intimacy, not a guarantee that it will be reciprocated. Some men, upon experiencing this vulnerability, might get scared and pull away. Others may try to turn these moments of connection into something purely sexual, missing the depth of what is being offered. So, how can you touch consciously without losing yourself in the process? How do you offer this gift of feminine touch while maintaining your own integrity and centered energy? The answer lies in intention. Before you touch, connect with yourself. Ask yourself, am I offering this touch because I'm overflowing with love, or because I'm trying to get something? If the answer is the second one, stop, breathe, come back to your center. Conscious touch is born from a state of presence, not technique. When you are truly present, not thinking about the past, not worrying about the future, not trying to please or impress, your touch carries a quality that is impossible to fake. Practice touching yourself first. Place your hands over your own heart and breathe. Touch your arms, your hands, the back of your neck, with the same presence you would like to offer him. When you become intimate with your own body with reverence, you can touch another in the same way. Establish energetic boundaries. You can offer affection without emptying yourself. You can create moments of intimacy without getting lost in them. The secret is in keeping a part of yourself always connected to your own source of energy, your own feminine essence. Observe his responses without becoming attached to them. If he relaxes and opens up, receive it as a gift, but don't become addicted to that response. If he closes off or can't receive, don't take it personally. His ability to receive intimacy doesn't define the value of what you are offering. Use touch as a form of communication, not persuasion. You are offering a language of love, not trying to convince him of anything. When the intention is pure, the touch speaks for itself, and most importantly, only touch men who demonstrate the capacity for emotional reciprocity. Your touch is a sacred gift, not a therapeutic tool to heal wounded men. Offer it only to those who have eyes to see your beauty and a heart to honor it. When you master the art of mindful touch, something transformative happens, not just to the touch itself, but especially to you. You become a woman who understands her own feminine power, who knows she holds in her hands, literally, the ability to create deep and sacred connections. This wisdom awakens within you a confidence that doesn't depend on his reaction. You know your touch holds magic, that your presence is a gift, that your feminine energy is a healing force in the world. And this inner certainty creates a magnetism that attracts men capable of recognizing and honoring this special quality you possess. A woman who touches with awareness becomes irresistible, not because she uses seductive techniques, but because she offers something increasingly rare, authentic presence. In a world where everything is superficial and rushed, she offers depth and time. In a world where everything is performance, she offers truth. When you touch a man with feminine wisdom, you're not just offering pleasure, you're offering healing. You're not just creating desire, you're creating recognition. You're not just seducing, you're initiating an encounter between two souls who recognize each other. This completely transforms the dynamic of your relationships. You stop begging for attention and begin offering it as a gift. You stop trying to please and simply begin to be. You stop seeking external validation and begin to radiate inner validation. And when a man experiences the touch of a woman like that, centered, present, aware of her own worth, he understands he's found something precious. Not because you're offering yourself, but because you're being authentic. Not because you're chasing him, but because you are present in your own life. This is the quiet revolution of the feminine, not fighting for a place, but gracefully occupying the place that is already rightfully yours. And when you do that through mindful touch, you offer the world an experience of intimacy that heals, connects, and transforms. Now, let's try a little practice to weave this wisdom into your life. Find a quiet moment today and simply place your hands over your own heart. Feel the warmth of your palms against your chest. Take a deep breath and ask yourself, how can I truly honor my ability to touch and be touched? Perhaps it's about allowing yourself to receive affection with the same presence you offer. Maybe it's touching yourself with more reverence, recognizing that your body is sacred. Or perhaps it's setting boundaries about who has the privilege to receive your conscious touch. Practice being present when you touch anyone, not just romantically, but even a friendly hug, gently stroking a child's hair, or a tender pat for a beloved pet. Feel how the quality of the touch changes when you're truly there, not just going through the motions. Notice how people respond when you touch them with presence versus when you touch them absent-mindedly. Notice even how you feel different when you're conscious of what your hands are offering. The truth about feminine touch isn't that you should use your body to get attention, but that you can use your presence to create miracles of connection. When you understand that you hold in your hands the ability to offer healing, comfort, and profound recognition, everything shifts. You stop touching to please and begin to touch to honor. You stop using your body as a bargaining chip and begin to offer it as a sacred temple. And in that transformation, you'll discover that the most powerful touch isn't the one that sparks desire, but the one that awakens reverence. The man who can recognize and honor the magic of your conscious touch is the one who deserves to receive that gift. And when you meet in that sacred dance of giving and receiving, touching and being touched, you discover together that true intimacy isn't about possessing, but about belonging to each other, and most importantly, to yourselves. That is the ancient wisdom of feminine touch, transforming the simple act of touching into a ritual of love, healing, and mutual recognition. And when you access this wisdom, you offer the world exactly what it needs most. The reminder that it's still possible to connect, truly connect,